Hello, everyone, and welcome to Smalltalk episode 27. We're doing this one live stream style because my technology has had just a hell of a week. I'll spare you all the details, but to make a long story short, my computer decided to just completely dump everything. And so I've had to basically start from square one again, which is why you all can't see it, but this thing right here, this little black box, I'm going to call the Godfather. It's an external hard drive. The Godfather is provides a service that you may not need, but if you need it, you'll always have it. And so I have everything thankfully saved on this thing, except for what would have been Small Talk episode 27, the raw files. So
That's the one thing you couldn't save on that hard drive, bro.
You had one job. Just the one?
yeah, but I want to thank both Jacob and Matt for being so flexible with me during this. We were basically chewing our food twice. We're talking about Jinx, Spell, and Bound again, so it's Groundhog Day for us, but for y'all, it's fresh material. So
Yeah, we had to redo the whole thing that
No,
we
had to
talked about.
rewatch I had to watch 3 fucking episodes again. And I'm like, I literally just saw.
I literally had to watch it again. I literally had to rewatch those episodes again to refresh my memory.
I was like, I guarantee you. I literally was telling a friend of mine, I was like, I guarantee you, one of them actually rewatched all 3 again. I guarantee you. And then sure enough, it was Matt. So I was like, yes. That's like,
I don't usually take notes for when it comes to doing small talk.
I take notes because I want to, like, you gotta be what the stuff you like, because if you put it in your head, then you might like, oh man, like I forgot about that. I mean, so cool if that joke would have worked, But like, there's some cool stuff in this episode, all 3 of these episodes that are like, and I'm really excited to talk about it again.
Just a heads up for programming wise, since this stream is happening now. Once the stream ends, I'm gonna private it, and then I'm going to re-edit it, and then next Tuesday will be this with all the clips and the jokes and the trademark style.
So if you guys want to see the unedited, the uncensored version, be sure to watch this live.
So that will be going up next Tuesday, and so, like I said, it's a whole situation. I don't like it, but it's one of those things where you just have to like wash your hands of it and go, just make the best of what you can with it. But well, with the grandstanding and the hot dogging out of the way, let's get into the meat of the matter. Let us get into season 4, episode number 7, called Jinx.
His power of persuasion can control the strongest mind. Chuck. Smallville, Wednesday night.
A mysterious bookie with powers of manipulation has a strange, even dangerous effect on Clark and his friends. Meanwhile, Lex causes friction by using his influence to influence on Jason and Lana's relationship. So, we basically get introduced to one of the first mainline DC supervillains in this episode, and his name sounds like if you sneeze. He's a Russian bookie, which is not something that I anticipated. But Jacob, what did you think?
Well, first off, I'm like, really? Do we really? I mean, he's supposed to be in the comics. He's an imp from the 5th dimension, and so basically, he's basically like this, villain, that essentially likes to screw with Superman. He could be anywhere, anytime he plays. He could literally, turn Superman into a volleyball and kick him around if he wanted to.
Yeah, he could that, and he can cross any other dimensions he want.
He could literally make Batman Bane and Bane Batman. He could.
And the only way to send him back to his dimension is say his name backwards, which is something they put in that Easter egg when Chloe was doing the Google search of his name.
Can we talk about how stupid that was? Like, literally, they have no Google searched his name, and then they're like, "Oh, it's backwards," and then they click.
His name is backwards. Do you mean this?
It's like in the Universal monster movies where Dracula hides as Dr. Alucard, but backwards it's Dracula.
Like there's actually that happens in ironically another DC Batman versus Dracula animated film. The bad guy's name is Alucard.
I
And
never
then
knew that they
he
actually
writes it
made a Batman
backwards.
versus Dracula. I never knew they
Yeah,
made that
when
movie.
they did the 2004 animated series where they had Michael Richardson as the Joker. The people who made the Jackie Chan Adventures made the Bat. It's actually pretty decent. And
Is
so,
that
like
the
the Joker,
Is that
I
the
don't think I've
Batman
never
series
seen
where
it.
the Joker had dreads?
yes,
That
it was actually. I will say it was actually a pretty decent show. You know, which I actually really liked it. Bane, I didn't like Bane's design because it looked like just like the Hulk, or he looked just like the Hulk but red. I'm like, why'd they make him red? He's green.
So,
Like, I mean,
so basically, he's Red Hulk. Thunderbolt
essentially,
Ross.
yes. But
Get
yeah,
it?
but yeah, he writes Alucard in the movie, and it says, it's like it's Dracula backwards,
No shit.
and I'm like, well, oh, no, it's just like, and like you know, in every single freaking movie that never works. They're like, oh, this is this backwards, just like in Trolls 2. Literally, they're like, it spells goblin backwards.
The town of Milbog.
So they actually went there in Trolls 2. Now I've never seen the movie.
You've seen.
Oh my
Oh, I know that clip. That was
Reading her.
definitely shown
You know, like
in
an
every
email.
Hilariosity review from Chris Stuckman's channel.
Oh
my! I was wondering where did that scene came from? What movie was that? I don't know what the hell.
It's Trolls.
No one knows anything else about that movie except that one clip.
No, you
That's
think
the
that's
only
the
thing I
best
know.
clip? You think that's the best? No, there is a scene after that scene where a little boy, like he's talking to an old man, and then this family's frozen, and then the little boy figures, "Oh my god, my family's frozen!" So he stands up on a table and pisses all over them.
I must do it. I must do it.
It's just like what? What? Oh my god, they're frozen! Don't worry, I'm coming. And that wakes them up. They literally the next scene is them throwing the dinner away.
You know, it's not as extreme as, but I remember in the movie Zathura. I don't know if you all remember that movie.
Oh
but,
yeah, I definitely remember Zathura.
Yeah,
But Josh Hutcherson and the kid who plays his brother, they realize that they have frozen their sister, played by Kristen Stewart, a pre-Twilight Kristen Stewart, and she's frozen
before she was even famous.
She could act.
And Hutcherson,
At least she was trying to act.
grabs a lighter,
not doing this like
spray, tries to
I don't
light her
know.
on fire.
Tries to light her up. Yeah. I literally, you know what? At least I'm happy that movie got made because without that, we don't get Iron Man 1 because
It's
John
actually
Favreau
a very underrated movie. It's supposed to be like rip off from Jumanji.
I know
in
some
space.
people. Well, it's actually supposed to be like a spinoff to Jumanji, but like a lot
that
of
would
people,
have made more sense and then more believable.
It's
if it was
written by the same
spin-off.
Arthur as Jumanji.
Wasn't it directed by John Favreau?
It was.
Yeah, that's what I
No,
thought.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Did y'all hear that? How, by the way, Iron Man 1 got made. John Favreau made Thor, and then he got the visual effects team Thor while they were working on Thor to make Iron Man designs, and then they were showing that to Marvel. And then on top of that, then the script came in for Iron Man 1, and it was such a piece of shit script from Art Holloway and what's her name? Art Holloway. And it was such a piece of shit that John Favreau and the Thor, his co-writer on Thor, we rewrote the whole script. And they were also, Robert Downey Jr. was also rewriting his own lines and everything because they're like, this is a piece of shit script. And so that's how
Downey Jr. is like the master of improvising lines. Like he does that in every Marvel movie. Like most of he does it off script. You're like, I'm doing my own thing, and it works.
Yeah.
Well, I know some people wonder why are the writers of Iron Man such bad writers? They wrote Transformers last night, and they wrote Men in Black International. Why are they keep writing these? Why are the movies so bad that they're writing?
Well,
it's because they wrote a piece of shit movie and they're writing the success off of the. They wrote a piece of shit movie and John Favreau turned to a good movie and they're writing the success off the good movie.
It's all about the director if they can actually make a good movie out of a bad script. It depends on like how you make it sound great. Even shit movies, like for instance, you know the movie Wrath of the Titans with fucking Sam Worthington and Liam Neeson. When you read off the fucking synopsis of that thing, it sounds awesome. Then you watch the context and how they executed was dog shit.
I mean,
that tells you something.
X-Men First Class was a bad script. That Ryan Singer and Matthew Vaughn and Jane Goldman turned into a great movie. It was supposed to be about
It was
X-Men in
supposed to
high
be
school.
it was supposed to be Matthew Vaughn directing the third movie. Then Brett Ratner replaced him for that shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. Matthew Vaughn was gonna make X-Men. Do you know why he quit? By the way, I
What?
just read that. This reminded me earlier when I was reading Madam Web that Dakota Johnson said she signed on to Madam Web because they had a different script that she was interested in. Oh my god, this script's so good. And then they're like, oh, we're gonna rewrite and make some changes to the script. And then they rewrote the whole script. Apparently, they wrote a fake script just to get her to sign on. And that's exactly what happened with Halle Berry in X-Men 3, where Matthew Vaughn said he signed on to direct it and cast Vinnie Jones as the Juggernaut, and he cast Kelsey Grammer
I
as
remember
Beast.
they tricked her into like stay on for the third installment.
By making like a scene that says that people are dying in Africa and Storm makes it rain water there. And you're like, oh, wow, this is really interesting. And they're like, oh, that's not the real script. We're just tricking Halle Berry into signing that on. That's
Dave
not-
Chappelle's like, psych!
And I'm like, studios do that. They write a good script. They hire people to make a good script. And like, we're never going to make that version, though.
Me in the future editing the clip of the dude going, why the fuck you lying? Why you always lie?
I'm just saying, that's so stupid. But yeah,
like here's Jamie Foxx saying, I'm gonna say fuck you.
but yeah, in Smallville, speaking of liars, Mixopidlick is a guy, basically, literally, is a bookie. He's a bookie from a foreign country who basically is a metahuman who has the abilities. Not even a meteor freak. This is our first non-meteor freak.
It's our second metahuman, and it's also one of the well-known DC characters from the DC universe.
Who's the
First
first
we got Bart Allen. That was in the episode one.
Villain.
A villain. We got a DC villain, an actual DC villain, and not some meteor freak of the week episode who has the ability to control people. But they completely changed his backstory, changes how he handles his abilities. Like, no, I feel like that the writers at the time when they were doing the show, I don't think they were quite ready to have more faithful character because he was such a cheesy, campy, cartoony character. It's like, this is not going to work in the tone of the series. So they had to do a lot of major changes to his backstory and his personality in general.
Which, you know what? To be fair, Smallville cannot survive off of, like, that's why there's no costume. They said the two rules of this show was no flights, no tights. And so they could not do a traditional Superman show because they did Superboy, and Superboy was so criticized.
And they did Lois and Clark. They did the D. King Superman show that ran for like 4 seasons.
Mixopidlick is in there with a comic book accurate costume. And Mixopidlick is like a joke. And so they're like, we can't do Mixopidlick in this show. So they made him like, okay, he has to have a leather jacket because that's cool.
They wanted to make him tall, dark, and more of a sadistic sociopath.
A bad boy is what they're looking for.
A bad boy type.
And Russian. We can't forget that he's Russian.
Like, there's no way that they would have made that work in the show because that would have had lower rating numbers if they actually made it
was
work.
just a little guy who basically was just like in a career class going, it'd be like so fucking annoying. You'd be like,
just imagine that actually happened in the show. hey, Clark. Just imagine him just pretending. If he makes himself in his appearance as a tall, dark, mysterious type of guy, then just switch. Hey, it's Mr. Peerley. What up, Clark?
It'd be like, remember Little Nicky? Have y'all seen?
Yeah.
Remember the referee that Dana Carvey plays that makes the football team? Imagine
get that crap out of here.
Yeah, and just going like this, and then make the ball hit their head on the.
Just had Dana Carvey just play Mr. Pidlick in this show, just like, get that crap out of here, Clark.
I'm gonna make you my bitch, Clark. I mean, I will say I do think the way they went this, and because you cannot make a comic book accurate Mixopidlick in 2004.
No,
okay, I'm sorry,
that would not have worked.
Yeah, the world was not ready for that.
In this show, and I'm not saying this is the. I'm not gonna say anything about what comes later, but you are gonna meet other comic book character villains that may have they tweak their origins or tweak their look because they say we could not do faithfully to the comic books in that time period because you have to make certain changes and certain liberties.
No, I know who you're talking about. I definitely know who you're talking about, and it's probably. I think you're talking about season 5. Is it season 5?
And I will say what they.
I'm not saying who it is. I'm not going to say who it is. They cast a great actor,
great actor,
and great character.
But I understand why.
Not what I expected because I didn't really know much about this character in particular until I
Don't
saw
say
the
his name.
backstory. I'm not going to say his name. I'm not going to spoil it. But then
Ryan's like,
reading into it, I was like, oh,
bullshit.
wow, they did a lot of changes to that backstory.
Just me in the future, insert the Daredevil clip of the dude Wesley saying, "You do not say his name."
No, mister.
We don't say his name.
Yeah, there you go. That's
I
the
mean,
one.
but yeah, I'm just saying, like, you cannot do a comic book accurate, a comic
In
book
the early
accurate.
2000s, because in the early 2000s with comic books, but shows and movies like Spider-Man or
Batman and
X-Men,
Robin kinda
they
like
had
the
to, they
Batman
really
stuff.
wanted to make it more of a grounded, realistic tone instead of just making it more of a comic booky tone. Because
This
we
feels
weren't
like a
ready in that stage of the
post-Matrix
comic
world.
book genre at the time.
Yeah, the post this is
I
post-Matrix
guarantee
world.
if at some point, whether it's Superman Legacy or a sequel, I guarantee James Gunn would definitely make it work for Mr. Pitalik. He would definitely make it work.
I mean,
He literally made the villain in his Suicide Squad movie a gigantic kaiju-sized starfish.
And you
anyone
got Polka
can make it-
Dot Man. Who the fuck would have thought Polka Dot Man will work in live action?
and
Polka
King
Dot Man,
Shark,
who throws polka dots.
the dumbest character in the movie, but it's so funny to watch.
He's a dumb character, but he's actually likable and fun to watch.
Bird.
Like, I mean, I'm just saying, like, I think that's like, like, honestly, I mean, also you get a character like Deadpool.
Yeah,
who
right.
Would never work, like, did not work in 2009. Everybody always shits on that movie by saying that character you cannot do. And if they did X-Men Origins Wolverine in 2000, if they did Deadpool into that movie would never have went anywhere.
It would not have been. It wouldn't have executed very well because they were not ready to have them like embrace the whole crazy bonkers type of Deadpool character. But he wanted to have the more faithful Deadpool in the first half while he was filming it until they saw what they were going to do with him in the third act, and he fucking left after that. And they went and got Scott Adkins to be the body double of the sewing mouth shut in the third act movie.
At least they got
Oh, wait,
his
it
face.
looks like they finally found a way to make you shut up.
Stryker
Which-
finally figured out to shut you up.
I will say also there's things I like in the opening scene where Mixel Pit tries to get Clark to run like first off, I have an issue. How does Lois find that bookie? Like, literally, is there, because if Chloe can find the bookie, how does the principal not find out? Literally, this guy just goes to school just to be a bookie. I'm like, really? You're a foreign exchange student? And your sole purpose is to be a bookie?
It just raises too many questions.
Like, I don't see no, like, plus, has anyone attended class in this season so far? I have not seen one.
You never see any of them attend a class. They do it off screen all the time. It's like, hey, we don't have time for those class attending in the show because it slows down the story.
Let's just say virtual school was not a thing in 2004.
He looks so old that he looks like he's in his fucking 50 years old or something. Jesus Christ. You're too old to be in high school, bro.
I do like that Clark hurt the girl. Not hurt the girl, I'm saying Clark hurt that guy, the quarterback.
Yeah, when he got him to trip and hit the guy accidentally, and he lost all control of his strength and put him in the hospital.
Like, it looks like I got hit by a freight train. Like, it's like
literally.
It's like literally that. I like that idea of like, oh my god, I can actually kill somebody out there.
And I like that whole idea that they're about to like be suspicious of how he was able to like be a farmer but turn into a all-star football overnight. And also when he collapsed and he refused to get medical attention, and that was raising suspicious. And now that incident, they're looking to drug test him to see if he has any steroids in his system and that he may not be on the same playing field as the team.
And I like that Jensen Ackles suspects him.
Yeah, it's about. I love when it adds a little bit more consequences to Clark's arc in this show, which that was one of the things I appreciate about this episode.
You know, one of the things that stuck out to me with that whole angle and like the "Are you like on something?" This came out in 2004. The whole steroid thing in baseball with Barry Bonds and Mark McGwire and Roger Clemens was not far, was not far ahead, or either ahead or behind. So I'm not sure if maybe there was some correlation, or I could just be looking too deep into it.
I thought the thing with Lex and Miguel where he says, I looked at your report card. What did my father see in you? And he says, and Miguel says, the potential you saw what you do not see in the report card. I love that. I thought that was great. And then Lex is now kind of like, okay, now I'm suspicious. What the hell's wrong with you? I also think, look, I also like that, I do feel like Lex is kind of shoehorned in here because he literally has no purpose to this story or next episode story. The only 2 episodes he feels like the only episode he belongs in is Bound. These 2 episodes, I'm like, Lex is just like, it feels like they're just here to get Michael Rosenbaum a paycheck because they're like, well, we don't have Lex for 2 episodes.
They locked him in. Like he's a regular. They have to lock him in for these episodes. Like they have to find something for him to do.
It's like Lex in his head is like, well, the Clacks did not go anywhere, so now I must move on now to the Lannis. And so now
there are 3. There's a love triangle. It's like if you hate love triangles, there are 3 people in love with the same girl.
Oh, actually, there's now a square triangle. You get what I mean?
a love square.
A love square.
But
I mean, seriously, what is it with the deal? That's like the war.
I mean, I know I said this a million times on these other episodes, but I'm gonna repeat it again. Lana is fucking Helena Troy. She's the fucking hottest character. That all the male characters are just fucking fighting over the same woman. Clark, Lex, and now Jason. Jesus.
It's like literally all 3 of them. Like I want to. Like literally, you got first off. Like what was it you were gonna say about Lex, Ryan? You said something you were gonna say. Like you said last time about Lex.
Well, I was just going to say, and I'm sure we're going to touch on it a couple more times in this rewatch, like in the future, but Lex is like in his early 30s, and Lana is like 17 or 18.
18.
No, she is 18. She is 18 in season 4.
No, he made sure that he looked that up to make sure.
He had to look that up, and he just had to wait until he's ready to jump right in.
Oh yeah,
and he's literally Lex is like literally playing the long game with Lana. Just plain stupid.
He's making up a deposit so he can make a withdrawal later.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
That's the one.
I mean, he's literally Lex is literally, it's so creepy. You're 31 years old, my dude. You're 31 years old, probably 32 by now, and you're basically being like, look, Lana, I'm your friend. I think honestly why he wants her is because I was thinking about this. Why is he friends with Clark? Because he sees like Clark, because no one's ever loved him. His mother was the only one. His mom even was a piece of shit because she killed his brother. And so then you have his dad who never loved him really, and then the only love he
was
get
very like a verbal abuse and a piece of shit to his own son. And his mother was the only one that really loved him out of all of them until she passed, and she was terminally ill. That killed his like younger brother for horrible reasons.
I call it a mercy kill because
that was it was a mercy kill basically.
And I think he sees Clark and Lana as
a brother. Like Clark and Lana were the only 2 that really cared about him, and that's why he's so obsessed with the both of them.
Let me rephrase that. I said he sees him as a brother and a lover. I mean, Lana as a lover, and he sees Clark as a brother.
As a brother, and for Lana, the lover, he sees her as a lover. Yeah. He sees Clark as a brother.
Yeah,
more the
I just hope you don't get confused and think I'm trying to say
because Clark is the brother that he never had because he grew up without a brother. Because of Julian.
Yeah. Smallville, Alabama edition. Clark is my brother lover.
Ding 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 ding.
Hey, Clark, you're looking good in them blue jeans, boy.
Looking good in that tank top, girl.
Down in Louisiana.
I'm about to go downtown.
You got a pretty mouth, boy. But literally, I think, Clark, he really wants Lana because Clark, he's tried. Like his whole purpose was, Clark, you're like my brother. I'm going to try to be your wingman and get with Lana. And I think after 3 years, he's like, fuck it, Clark. You're never going to take that shot, so I'm going to take it because I kind of care for Lana. Lana actually is kind to me. Lana reminds him of his mother. And so you know how they always say, if you will.
But also his friendship with Clark is kind of being a little bit more distant than usual, even though that they reconciled 5 episodes
Lex
ago.
was a bastard for doing
He's
that.
He's becoming, and I agree. I totally agree. I don't justify what Lex is doing.
He literally narked on. He took Clark's information and then used it against Clark and got Lana fired.
Yeah, and Clark didn't even tell him. Lex was just pieced it all together. He put 2 and 2 together, and then he later just got Jason fired after that whole championship game, which that was a dickish move to do.
It was such a piece of shit. It was such, like, literally, and then he tries to justify his own actions, like, you told me and all this. And you know what? It was a disgusting, inappropriate relationship. Like, I'm like, you all acting like Lex. You are so acting like you're so high and mighty. You're acting like the words that are coming out of your mouth are just. You sound just like your father. You sound just like Lionel.
But it's worse. But it's a lot worse
because you're literally using your own.
Like I said a couple episodes ago of this show, I feel like Lana's intelligence is just like gone like subterranean because like
I
she's
think yeah, I think she lacks her common sense is fading.
like she's mad at Clark. It is like Clark did this. I'm like, my sister in Christ, Lana. Like, be serious for
You
one
really
minute.
think that he would snitch on you guys? You really think he's that guy after you've known him for how many years? 4
I'm
years?
old enough to remember in season 2 where you said that literally everyone has left you except for Clark, and you asked him to stay. And despite literally everything that has happened, he has stayed. And
He's the guy who has literally stood by you all the way through the end. And
I'm just saying.
what do?
Clara
You
needs to
make
end.
those accusations against him?
he has given you the gold mine, and you have given him the shaft.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
I mean, I'm just saying that's every time it's Chloe and Lana, it feels like the writers don't like them, but they're like, we got to pay the actresses, so that just
You just got to make them.
Yeah,
You just got to make
fucking
Chloe
weird.
and Lana assholes to Clark every now and then.
Lana gets possessed in this episode. Like, fuck it. Lana, assassins try to kill Lana. Fuck it. Lana becomes a zombie. Well, fuck it. Let's do this episode. And okay, but I'm not just joking about that part. I'm just saying, like, they're making up shit as they go. Lana gets trapped in a book, The Wizard of Oz. Let's do some shit like, I'm just saying.
They gotta instead of just writing her out of the show at the end of season 3, because now they feel like that they need to keep her on for whatever the reason, that they have to give her a bigger arc to play in the season.
Because
Let's
people like
involve
her.
the Isabel Thoreau, the freaking witch.
We'll talk
Yeah,
about that when next episode.
Yeah, even though we're gonna get into that episode very soon.
I'm just saying, the writers do not like Lana or Chloe. You could tell because Lois Lane's got the best dialogue and the best character stuff, but Lana Lang and Lois, they're like, you can go fuck yourself.
Like you're a grown ass
No
man.
one's gonna notice.
He's still like, he's in his 20s. I mean, that's like I'm just waiting for Chris Hansen to walk around the corner and go, so Lex, you want to hit on a high school girl, huh?
Have a seat, Mr. Luther. But
Take a seat.
Oh my god! Insert the Catch a Predator clip and then put Lex's face on there. Lex,
What are you doing here today?
oh my god!
The Catch a Predator clip from Dateline.
Just Lex Luthor sitting down. He's Chris Hansen.
live streams are awesome, y'all. But
This is why live stream is the best. If you guys in the comments or guys who are viewing this video, it's your chance to watch the uncensored, unedited version.
We're
This is a
keeping
one time
Catch a
only.
Predator thing. That's gonna be fucking hilarious when they see it. Dayline NBC Chris Hansen shows up.
Just had the fucking guy from NBC from Dateline coming here to talk to Lex, like, hey, so you like hitting on high school girls now?
I can't
But,
help it. My father. That's what my father.
anyway,
I
on
will
that
say,
pleasant image,
Miguel, I did not like the fact that Clark finds out about him, like, through the Google search and everything. And then he goes to Lex, and Lex is like, I'll take care of it. Instead of confronting him himself and being like, hey, I need you, like, because mostly Clark would confront him himself and be like, I know what you're doing. You need to stop it or something. And instead he goes, Lex, you're a foreign exchange student. And he goes and snitches, Lex, your foreign exchange student is doing this. And he goes, I'll take care of it. But then whenever the bookie finds out, he somehow finds out where Clark lives and then threatens him, which I like that him threatening Clark, saying like, if you do not fumble, I will kill Chloe and everyone you love. Yeah, I like that aspect when he does that. But I thought it was so stupid how he found out where Clark, like,
How did he know where he lived? First of all, how did he know where he lived?
I mean, if this show
Did he
is
hack into
proven anything, is that
the
Luther
school
Banner
records and check out Clark Kent?
have the worst security ever.
But also, he instead of just having him deported, he decided that he needed him and needed to have a reason why his dad hired him in the first place, because he doesn't know anything about his talent, his ability.
Also, why did Lex make a bet? Lex making a bet was so stupid too, because it's like, Lex, you're rich. I'm like, really? Why would you want to even gamble?
You're fucking rich. Why would you need to make a bet, bro?
I mean,
also, I think
Dana White at his Super Bowl parties every year, he always like makes like small bets and gives them out to people. Like, hey, here's something for you. Like, win something tonight. So it was like, it's not too far beyond the pale.
I did like one thing I loved about it when they were in high school. When they were in high school, okay, like, and he was in the locker room, how you hear Boulevard of
Boulevard of Broken Dreams by Green Day.
I walk a lonely road, the only one that I have ever known.
I love that so much. How he's like, it feels like
it.
such a
It fits.
Superman moment.
It fits into the context in the
My
scene in the locker room.
shadows on. Like he's putting,
And also,
like,
it's nostalgia, 2000s nostalgia, dude. We
he's
grew
putting
up
his
with
gear
that.
on, like he's like about to go to war. Like he knows he has to do something bad, and he's like, I can't tell nobody. And he's literally like, he literally has to deal with those moral complications, saying, if I don't go on that field and do something bad, people are gonna die.
You're not going to die if I don't do anything. So he's gonna have to make the tough decision and live with the consequences.
I mean, I love also, and then he goes outside and his dad talks to him. He goes, Dad, and he gives that line to his dad about, when I put on this uniform, you know, it's like, and oh man, it was so good. I'm like, this is why I love Smallville, right?
And he always has to like control his strength, and every time that without having to lose it. And that was a good speech that he gave to his dad. But also, I agree with you. But also the product placement of Old Spice brought to you by Old Spice.
But anyway, I would think this is a good episode. I really like it. I also say the one thing I also like at the end is how they use lotuses to get rid of, how he like holds Chloe and then Clark runs to the field, off the field, and goes boo and pushes. And then runs back.
The super speed sequence when he after he like throws the football, goes into super speed to save Chloe. That sequence was badass. I'm not gonna lie. And by the time we get to the aftermath, we see Lex taking him to the elevator, and the number, you know what it is, the level 33.1. That won't be the last. That's not going to be the last time you see 33.1. And
33.1. I can't wait. Oh yeah, there's a lot of shit.
Plays a bigger part. It's so
way bigger. Yeah.
Aaron, please, for the love of everything, don't say what level 33.1.
I would say, you know what? What was it last time? I think 8 out of 10.
I think so, yes.
That's what I would say. It's an 8 out of 10 episode. 8 shields.
Yeah, I gave it an 8 out of 10 when we recorded. Yeah, I still stand by it.
There's no way
we are simpatico. I will go 8 out of 10 as well. Not perfect by any means, but still fun. Still had some really good moments. The more I've thought about the Boulevard of Broken Dreams moment, the better it has gotten. Noted Aaron White, or noted Green Day fan Aaron White is in the chat, so I'm sure he liked that scene very much.
I mean, the soundtrack could have been used at so random and it wouldn't make any sense in the context, but this one is an exception. It worked. Because we see studios happen all the time when they throw in soundtracks that don't really serve the story. James Gunn's the only one who could do it justice.
But let's move on. This is season 4, episode 8, called Spell, aka I'm going to tell my kids this was Hocus Pocus, because Kristen Kroik is a lot easier on the eyes than Bette Midler.
Wednesday. Something has possessed them.
You see this? Yes, they're very nice.
A seductive power.
Love the view.
Clark cannot escape.
What have you done to me?
This body, you have desires for it, don't you? Well, it desires you too, Clark.
Fresh Smallville on the WB Wednesday night.
As Clark and Lois arrange a surprise 18th birthday party for Chloe, Lana receives a mysterious book that belonged to her French ancestor, Isabel, who was burned as a witch in the 1600s, like they did back then. Through the book, Isabel possesses Lana's body, and she resurrects 2 other witches in the bodies of Chloe and Lois. The trio set about tracking down the Kryptonian stones, spelling trouble for Jason, Lex, and Clark. So,
you know, this episode should just be called Sexy Witches. Because literally, the whole episode is about sexy witches. It's literally the Craft and Charmed, essentially, in this episode. And I know it because Charmed came out. This was like literally, this Charmed, I think, was on its final season when this was airing. So I'm like, yeah, you know that they were like, all right, hey, Charm's popular. Let's make this like a Charm-themed episode. And they're just like, all right. I mean, I do like this. I do like that. I like that Lana becomes possessed because it gives Lana something to do, because Lana doesn't have nothing to do in this last episode other than be like, well, Clark.
Well, Clark. How could you?
Clark. Also, I think I think that literally the only thing I didn't like was the opening where literally the opening of the episode is literally feels like it's from G.I. Joe: The Rise of Cobra.
Before that movie came out, yeah, it's literally or fucking WandaVision with Agatha the Harkness. Remember
and
that?
The guy from Elf, that literally is drinking the bottle of the booze is like, Will Ferrell's like, "What are you in for?" He says, Will Ferrell's like, and the guy's like, "Work release." I'm like, that guy literally is the guy burned her alive, and then all of a sudden she's like, ha 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 ha! I'm just like, okay, come on, all right, look.
Your two witches over here was like fucking crying, screaming bloody murder, while fucking Isabel was just embracing getting burned alive.
It feels like Hocus Pocus, but they went up like 10 fucking
burn, baby, burn.
Side note, G.I. Joe: The Rise of Cobra is an awful movie. Don't ever watch it.
I mean, literally, if you've seen the opening of this episode, you've pretty much seen G.I. Joe: Rise of Cobra.
And that is better than that movie, but let's not go down.
Also, Lana has another doppelganger of one of the descendants of her ancestor. What a shocker.
Yeah. Like Lana's somehow involved in
both. She looks exactly like her, remember? You know, Jake.
Yeah, I just think that's so stupid. Remember in like season 2 or season
I can accept that the first time around, but now the second time, come on, how lazy can you really
got
be?
the tramp stamp. It's like, oh my god, I got a tramp stamp.
Oh, I got a tramp stamp. Oh my god.
This is, and I'm just like, really? Also, this episode is heavily Jensen Ackles because Jensen Ackles, like Clark, is barely in this episode until the third act. Like Clark's just more of a guest star in this episode, where Jensen is the focus. It's like Lana and her boyfriend are the focus.
Yeah, it was literally Lana and Jason's episode, essentially. Yeah,
Clark is literally.
I get why that they had to do add him into the story because it's playing the 3 stones. That's Kryptonian stones.
Yeah, I think really
it had to be thrown in there.
I feel like they wrote this whole episode. And Clark I guarantee you, I probably am sure that Clark in the third act was going to be Jason that tries to save Lana. But instead they were like, you know what? I mean, it's Smallville. The showrunners, Alan Miles, were probably like, it's Smallville. Clark has to be there to stop them, not the boyfriend. This is Smallville. Superman has to save them. And so they went back and like, you're right. It's like, well, let's just make him get knocked out or some shit. And so it's like, and I think honestly, this is a great episode, but I do have issues with it. My biggest issues is just stick to your guns. I mean, look, so what? Clark literally is in every episode. Just let him be.
Well, yeah, it's his story. He's the lead of the show. He's gonna be in every
episode. Let him get in college this episode.
It would have been weird. It would have been weird if he was not in one episode. That would have felt a little suspicious, even though he's the lead
it's called
character.
And it's about
and also, it really just introduced to magic that magic can really hurt Kryptonians, especially Clark. It could really hurt him. It's not only that kryptonite can weaken him, but also magic can hurt him too.
I like how Clark tries to cut Clark's hair. The possessed Lana.
Oh yeah, I know. I should have mentioned that in that fucking recording that we did a week ago. Yeah, she cuts his hair, and the scissor broke. That's a super hair.
I like how she's interacting too with Lana. Like Lana in possession, acting like interacting with people. It's like almost like, hey, this is a much funner Lana. Especially she throws a damn hell of a party too.
I'm not gonna lie. I agree with you.
She was a lot more.
She was a lot more fun. If you take away the fucking psycho killer type, she was a lot more fun.
I honestly said, you know what?
She's not so like goody, uptight, like whiny character.
I mean, imagine her and like dickish Clark, with Red Kryptonite. They would
oh my god, awesome, dude! That would be crazy if you had Red Kryptonite. If you had the Red K Clark and you had the Isabel Lana, oh my god, those two would have gone nuts. I guarantee that would.
I do like that Chloe's surprise party, especially I like how she possesses Lois and Chloe in the middle of the woods. Says, "Meet me in the middle of the woods," and then she possesses them. And then Lois, I thought was so stupid that was grabbing her boobs and says, "I got these." See?
Oh, I got these. Oh.
I'm like. Okay, we know CW. Okay, CW. We get our WB. We get it. Okay.
You know how the writers are. It's early 2000s. They like to have sexy lady cast members for the show. They want to spice this up.
I mean, lest we forget. I mean, just a couple episodes ago, we had Chloe wearing nothing but Clark's jersey. So
again,
I'm not gonna. I thought that was hot.
What is the theme this season?
I'm not saying it's.
Like,
not saying that.
almost every female co-star this season is somehow in a sexy, suggestive situation.
When those witches dress up in their different form, Lord
Okay,
have
don't be a fucking
mercy.
pervert now.
Everybody will be like, Lord have mercy.
I will say this theme this season is sex. I mean, seriously, insert the Office clip of Michael Scott in the projector.
And that's it.
But dude,
Sex.
every high school kids in the barn at Chloe's
That's the
party,
theme this
they
season.
don't
We all
look high
know
school
it.
kids. They're too buff, they're too shredded. No way in
They're
hell
all
that's
like 18 now. They're like, go ahead, make it.
they're 18, that we can accept that. Did you ever see a meme?
Have you seen the
Have
promos?
you ever seen the meme from Steve Rogers, Captain from before and after, saying, "Hey, high school kids in real life and high school kids on television," where he's buff and yeah, you saw that?
Yeah,
Like the Riverdale kids and everything, where they're all just like handsome. And you're like,
how do you feel? Taller.
I thought that the party was great when Jason I thought was kind of messed up. He wouldn't talk to Clark, but I understand why he wouldn't talk to Clark.
Yeah, in his defense, he felt betrayed because he still thought that was Clark who ratted him out, but it wasn't really him. It was Lex. But from before that, he thought it was still Clark, and he felt like he betrayed him.
And I love the scene when they have a great party.
Oh yeah,
goes,
the party was
it's great here, and the women are like,
so good.
The boys shave.
Tom Welling in that he was loosening the hell up. Like, oh my god, like he just went all at it.
They play that song "What You're Waiting For," and then everybody's dancing. And then the college, the college,
yeah,
the guy that was coming there,
the guy from Princeton,
and he was like, "Come on, like he's in his boxers going, what you waiting? What you waiting? Hey, come on!
I mean, he's in between Lana and Chloe, just dancing up, making sandwich.
I'm like, that was great. That was a great scene. Everybody was so like, getting buck wild in there that literally it was like everybody's having a good time. I guarantee you that it was such a good time at that party because the witches, that if that Dean was into college girls, I guarantee you he could have.
If they were college girls, but those were high school kids.
Well, I mean, if
that would have been so weird. Like that would not have worked. If it was college kids, and then that would make. Then I would. I mean, come on! Don't you ever think that if it was realistic R-rated show, a lot of the high school kids would not bang. They probably have banged off screen. I guarantee Clark would have banged Chloe and Lana right then when he was under a spell. Think about it. You think they would not have done it?
Yeah, let's abandon ship, Ryan. Abandon ship. Let's go. Lex, let's go to Lex. Okay, Lex basically again is in this episode, and basically he does one thing. He sets up the book that Lana basically becomes possessed by. That's the only reason why Lex is in this episode. And then of course, like Lex, I do like that when he becomes possessed, he's playing the piano. His hands are all bloody and everything.
Oh yeah,
and
it's like this, like bloody when he was playing the piano. Oh my god, it was like
that's gotta be like. Number one, these showrunners have clearly seen Evil Dead more than once, and number two, like when the camera pans to seeing him playing and his fingers are all bloody and there's blood all over the piano, I'm just like, the CW allowed this.
Oh yeah, it's no surprise that the network show back then were able to get away a lot of the scenes that could be a little bit bloody and gruesome. I mean, look at it for instance. You know the show Hannibal, right? That aired on NBC at the time.
Oh yeah,
I watched that show from the first season. This shit is so graphic. It's R-rated on a network show. I could not believe that they got away with a lot of it. Vampire Diaries did the same thing. That shit had a lot of graphic, like chopping off limbs, like ripping hearts out. Like, oh my god.
I also like when I also like whenever what's his name, when the Chloe becomes possessed, she says, "I recognize these woods of France anywhere." And then Isabel goes,
she thought she was in France, and it's like we're in Kansas.
We're in Kansas, Madison. And she goes, "Where's that?" It's in the Americas. I just thought
it's in the United States, which I don't know why.
I like how Jensen Ackles, he figures it out that Lana's not her, and he threatens to burn the book.
Oh yeah, I completely. He was the first character to figure out that was not Lana.
Like, again, because he's the focus of the episode. He's like, "Hey, you're not."
And the joke that we brought up, Dean, is the reason why he got his ass kicked because Sam Winchester couldn't rescue him. He wasn't there.
He would have literally stood his grounds because I mean, hunting witches is just a normal day to him. But unfortunately, his brother Dean wasn't there. But I thought it was pretty good and everything. And I thought it was great seeing Lois back. Because remember, she hasn't been back for a couple of episodes.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
was that whole thing, like 6 episodes, or not 6 episode, but like a whole
Yeah, for
stretch
6
where
episodes.
like Ryan Reynolds is like flat. There was a movie trying to be a thing, a J.J. Abrams Superman movie, and that never went anywhere.
So that you
So
can
like,
have
you know what, you can have Lois. Why not?
which I'm glad. I'm glad they kept her. Like, I mean, she is gonna be like, because because like they only had her for so many episodes as a guest star because she was only a guest star this season, and so she don't become a main part of the cast until next season. So it's
Yeah.
like like, and so I think that was the only reason why they tried to they're like, look, like you can only have her for so many episodes because when you do a guest star, that's like John Glover in season 1. He's like a guest star, and so he's not in every single episode, but he's in like plenty of episodes. And then season 2, like he's a regular, which I kind of miss. He's not in this episode. We have not seen him in these 2 episodes at all.
Yeah, not ever since the transference episode.
As it
Yeah,
just feels like, man, I mean, I just don't understand why. Like maybe they're trying to wait for his hair to grow back. They're like, we're gonna wait for his hair to grow back in the wool.
Yeah, maybe, but
I think
I
they just wanted to take a step back a little bit from Lionel Luther a while and do other shit.
Let's build Blex up and not build. I think that's really what it is. But yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. I do think I would say it's pretty good. If I had to give it any shields, I would say it's about an 8.5.
You
Alright.
liked it more than Jinx.
Yeah.
all right, Matt. What about you?
Yeah, I do agree with you, Jake. I do like this episode a little bit more than Jinx because even though the witch stuff is kind of ridiculous, but it does play a big part in the season with the whole stones with Clark and all, and it's definitely feel a little bit more of a Lana and Jason episode centric. But yeah, I'm gonna give it an 8.5. I totally agree.
I'm gonna go a little lower. I'll say 8. I thought that this was a good episode. I think there's a lot of story like stuff going on. Some of the negative stuff like was like hey, I have bees. So like, all right, yeah, that good for
Again,
you.
what is that they're trying? What's the theme this season?
And that's it.
But I kind of had a feeling that they were going to introduce magic at some point that it can actually have effect on Clark, which that was bound to happen sooner or later.
Well, let's move on now to easily the worst of the 3 we're going to be talking. About.
Did you say what your rating was?
I said just a solid 8.
Oh, okay.
Well, let's move on now to easily the worst of the episodes we're going to be talking about. This is season 4, episode 9, called Bound.
Hi, this is Tom Welling. You're watching Smallville on the WB Wednesday night.
Next Wednesday.
You want to tell me how you wound up covered in blood?
You were burning evidence, Lex.
How would you like it to end? A bang or a whimper?
Smallville. Next week on the WB Wednesday.
Let's get wrapped up in a sex/murder scandal because this is a season 1 episode that got lost.
This is Club Zero sequel. It's Club Zero 2.
Clark.
It should have been called How I Met My Stalker.
Get Lex out of trouble. Lana meets Jason's mother, whom she has seen before in a dream, which was set in the 1600s. So yeah, this is essentially a season 1 episode trapped in season 4 with some season 4 characters added in. Like it just felt like a bit of a step back for Lex. So like we've come so far with this guy, and what got me was like they're like, how do you not remember that? I'm just like, people. Lex Luthor literally was brainwashed, and then he had to go through shock therapy, and then didn't get his memories back. And he got partials because he was dipped in the big old bucket of dip from the frickin' Who Framed
He had
Roger
He had a lot of brain trauma twice now.
Watermelon thing.
Yeah, no, it was more of a Gatorade flavor.
I'm just saying. I mean, this right here episode is like why he's like this right here is why I hit on 18-year-old high school girls, because every time I hit on someone my age, they fucking.
There's another psycho stalker trying to kill Lex.
But this should have been called. This episode really should have been called "How I Met My Stalker."
Because Kobe Smulders is in this episode before we knew who Kobe Smolder was, because she was known in How I Met Your Mother. She was in the MCU that played Maria Hill. So
I mean, this was like really before, because I mean, I think at this time she was only in this, and she was in Walking Tall as Neil McDonough's girlfriend that was in the car. It's the scene
Oh
where
yeah.
the Rock smashes the back of the car with the wood. He said, "You got a tail light out," and he goes, "I don't got a tail light out." He smashes it. She just does this like, It was. I mean, she's a good actress. I mean, she has no lines in this whatsoever, except like she has like 3 lines. I think like she only has like 3 lines. I had to literally go back and think, does she have any lines? Because
but you'd be amazed that a lot of these actresses that before they were well known, some of them started off being extras, some of them started off being side characters with barely any dialogue. When you look back on these other movies or shows, you're like, oh, I recognize this person. How did I not spot that? That happens. Angeline Lilly, she was like a side extra in season 1.
Yeah.
Also, don't you love at the beginning the techno theme at the beginning? I'm like, it just reminded me of
Oh
that.
god, that was so Club Zero. That was such a Club Zero thing.
Bam. Also, Jane, I do like that Jane Seymour's character. Only thing is, I feel like the only reason why she was in this episode, I suspect she was created because Margaret Kidler was like, after Christopher Reeves died, they used his death as a plot point. So basically, Margaret Kidler said, I don't want to be on the show anymore. I think they created her character, Jane Seymour's character, to basically replace Margaret Kidler's character. They just create a new character rather than to recast. Like, oh, we'll create a new character and we'll give her Margaret Kidler's storyline. Because literally, like, she was in 2 episodes, and then Christopher Reeve died. Then Margaret Kidler's never seen again on the show. And I think that's one reason why is because you could tell they were building something with Kidler. And then
they had a lot of big plans for Margaret Kidder's Bridget Crosby, and they've written her out of the show because like you said, Christopher Reeve's death happened, and they wanted to use his death as a plot point, and she didn't want to do it anymore.
I mean, there's wisdom to like both sides of that. I like it sucks because there could have been a lot with that character. However, her reason for leaving was pretty sound, so it's like, I mean, what you gonna do, right?
Also,
what can you do?
Also, who goes and brings an MP3 player to like a charity auction? Like, you're going to a really fancy place and you're going to pull an MP3 player out or an iPod.
I mean, if you were to bring in some party like this, you would bring your kid who just had to sit there and play their Game Boy or play the fucking Switch or whatever.
She literally brings that music. The music's a plot point in this episode too. Like the off-brand, non-union, legally distinct music is used as a plot point. Because I'm like, yeah, Lex, of course Lex knows that music. Because no one
MP3 player. Remember MP3 was actually a thing at the time? It was popular before iPod.
The music that was playing through the non-union, legally distinct iPod, as we call it, the Zune.
It's like, oh my god, this song, I've heard it once before because I've never heard this song because it's not a really fucking song. It's just like techno music. And it's like, I mean, obviously, if somebody went and murdered somebody and then 10 years later they came with that song, I'm like, I think you're a murderer because I've heard this song. It's not like she's listening to Creed or she was listening to Linkin Park. She was literally listening to just an off-brand techno song.
She was like some off-brand techno generic song.
She was listening to a song from one of those like 24-hour like YouTube videos where it was like beats to chill / relax / study to.
I will say Jane Seymour's character though, I thought that was so dumb in the flashback. She looks like Rita Repulsa from Power Rangers, okay? She's just
It's time to conquer Earth!
Yeah,
it's time to conquer Earth!
I'm just saying, like, she's dressed like Rita Repulsa. I'm like,
then you have Zordon just captured 5 teenagers with attitude. Become Power Rangers. Let's go.
Rangers. Go,
Rangers.
Power Rangers!
Go, Power Rangers!
Just like, I'm just saying that shit was like crazy. Her hair piece. I'm like, okay, what did they have like costume? Like, we need costumes. And like, we got a Power Rangers costume. Well, put it on her. And Jane Seymour's like, I'm not wearing this. We'll give you
I'm not wearing this.
No, I'm not wearing this. We'll give you.
Yeah, so we meet up with Jason's mom for the first time in this episode. And then Lana had that nightmare that looks exactly like Jason's mom for a woman
I do like
she
when
never met.
Lana sees her and she's scared shitless because
she got startled.
Like, she's like, oh my god, the woman in my dreams is staring right. Like if Freddy Krueger was real and he's staring right at you in your face.
She's like she's definitely the female Freddy Krueger.
Like she
she's
plays
like,
a
come to
huge
Freddy.
role.
Yeah.
Like how
She makes such a weird impression. Like, you look very sadistic the way you're acting. I was like, damn, you're so villainous that you're so obvious.
I will say one thing I will say is that, I will say that I think that, her character, I'm not going to say no spoilers about her character, but she has a big role to play this season. Like she has a big role.
Oh, yeah.
And you can tell because when she's in a limo with Jason at the end, and which by the way, that I hated that when she's in the end, because when we get to like the finale, when closer to the finale, then you'll be like, oh, either they were putting on a show, or that just doesn't make sense. You're gonna see so there's two things that I cannot say, but like you're gonna be like that conversation limit doesn't make sense now.
Yeah, the conversation's like, did I meet her by accident? Oh, of course, Jason. So you're wondering, like, it was probably not an accident that Jason and Lana had met in the first place. What, like, you're asking yourself, like, did she
The fact
have
that
anything
he's
to do with
asking
it?
his mother in private in a limo, that's what I'm like, how it is a plot hole to me, because I'm like, wait a minute, but then I was like, I can't say it, but like you're just like, you'll see what I'm talking about when we get to that episode. You're like, oh, okay, like see, like then why would he even say that? It'd be different if he said that in front of Lana. Then I'd be like, okay, that makes sense. But the fact is he's saying that in private limo, and I'm like, it just feels like the writers at the time had to make a certain thing looks like a certain way, and then the writers later were like, oh, let's make it this way. Jane Seymour it feels like she's playing the Lionel Luthor, a female Lionel Luthor, while Lionel Luthor's in jail.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that.
Sorta, yeah.
I mean, speaking with Lionel Luthor, now we finally get to see Lionel in this episode playing the big part of this episode, helping Lex for a crime that he was framed, playing like
Jane
the
Seymour
Hannibal
has more screen
Lecter
time in this episode than Colby Smulders. Jane Seymour has more screen time in this episode than the villain of the episode.
That's true. Yeah. Like that was like the whole Kobe Smulders thing, that was just like a side story where Jason's mom has more of a bigger part of the play. It felt like two different storylines shoved into one.
Also, who does, by the way, he was literally getting the second base in the elevator. How long was that fucking elevator ride for them? Like, just like, he was like, yeah. And I'm like, literally, he could have had an orgasm by the time they got to the room. Be like, you know what? I'm good.
Did they just hit that stop button to stop the elevator from moving, and they go at it?
Sense. They didn't know because Chloe tried the theory out. Remember?
Oh yeah.
By the way, Michael Rosenbaum, I'm going to tell you off camera, but Michael Rosenbaum has a really funny story about one time how he's at one time an incident that happened with him and a girl. He told him like get on a podcast, and and it's the funniest shit ever. I'm just laughing my ass. I'm going to tell you off camera because it's a dirty story, but it's hilarious. A real story Michael Rosenbaum said about him and a girl one time.
This time around, Lionel is playing a little bit of a different role now. Now he's not like the bad. He's not like the evil Lionel Luthor. After his liver had healed, after he told Clark that my liver had healed, and he has no recollection to what happened in the past few days. Now he looks like he's like turning a new leaf.
It feels like he is turning a new leaf, doesn't it? Feel like he's like, look, you know what I mean? Do you feel like Lionel's playing Clark, or do you feel like he actually is sincere?
I mean, I think after transference, I think something happened to him where I feel like the old Lionel is like falling apart, and like I feel like Lex is going darker while Lionel's going more towards the light side, and there's like a double turn that's going to happen. I could be totally wrong. You guys know I don't.
I can't say. I can either confirm or deny without the secretary's approval.
That's the one.
And Aaron, don't say anything either. But
you little bastard, don't even dare try to sneak that into the comment section,
we'll put you in a straight jacket, and then we'll make you lose 6 weeks of your life.
That's that straight jacket electric shock. God damn it, that joke thing still sticks.
Well, on that note,
we'll give you electric shock therapy and then make you a pedophile too. Like,
on that note, I think we've covered.
I mean, wait, there's some other things. Like, I will say, wasn't it kind of stupid though? It was kind of stupid, by the way, that literally this girl goes into Lex's mansion as an assistant to his lawyer. What if Lex would have recognized her and be like,
I mean,
"Hey,
did the writers? Here's the thing: did the writers intentionally try to pull off that whole Clark Kent disguise stuff when you put on the glasses and act something else, and then you wouldn't even know who that person is? I guarantee that was intentional. That was literally intentional.
It's incredible, and also it's really incredible that she literally kills. There's no cameras, I guess, at her office because she kills her and then puts her MP3 there, and then just where was she? Because she literally waits in the corner, like where is she hiding under a plant? Going, wait, when he picks up my MP3 player, don't pull a pistol out.
Yeah, but no, you're right. That's a good question. There's no security cams in her office for the murder, or did she disable the cameras? That's my guess. That's the only thing I'm asking the question. Like, did she disable the security cameras so that she wouldn't be caught?
Also, Lex just goes and burns Eva. Like, he goes to the address. I understand why he would go to the address, but wouldn't he send a security team? Like, I would be calling my security team saying, "Hey, look, I need you guys down here now."
Yeah, he wouldn't do it himself. He would have hired a security team to burn the evidence.
The conclusion to it either. Like, all we see is cop car coming. Clark obviously didn't super speed him away. So what the fuck happened? Did they just run out and go, "Run, Lex, get in the car, run"?
Yeah, how did they get away from the cops? Like, they did never even bother to mention it. They just got back to the mansion.
Clark like, walk into his mansion, like.
Did he sneak him off the back? Did he literally sneak him out of the back door from the cops?
His car would have been around the corner,
because it wasn't Clark who called the cops. It was that psycho lady, Kobe Smulders, was the one that called the cops.
Also, it's incredible that his security team believes Lex is drunk, and then they help him, bring him upstairs, and they don't watch the monitors to see what happens. Instead, she pours liquor around him in a circle, and then
anyway, was the security team supposed to be watching the mansion whenever there's something bad happens? No one's watching.
I'm just like,
security team just looking at him.
Again, security teams are the fucking worst in this show.
Dim billionaires, huh?
He takes the bad guy. She takes him back to his own house to kill him. Like, what if the security guard was smart? That doesn't raise any red flags at all.
And also, why didn't she take him into an abandoned place to
at least Club Zero? It would have made more sense. Or the room that he literally had her in. That would have made more sense too.
Yeah.
Or the elevator would have made more sense than.
Oh, the elevator would have been a little bit weird. Burn him alive in the elevator.
Her capacity for evil clearly outweighs her practicality.
I'm just saying she does. I do think the Ring of Fire thing was pretty cool though.
That was a cool sequence. That was a good sequence, especially.
Clark runs in there,
he comes in here, takes his jacket off, and just waves and takes the fire.
Total.
Yeah, well, he can't use super breath. He doesn't have that power yet.
And then just goes. Also, he just pushes her down. He's like super push,
just like boom.
I just thought that was so freaking funny. And then he just runs and saves. And Lionel's helps. I like how Lionel's like Lex makes her drive to her own. Lex never drives the girl there. Lex always gets her to drive himself. And I'm like, Lionel, you're full of shit because I remember in Zero that Lex drove that girl there. Like literally, remember in Zero, because remember Club Zero, he drove the girl there in his red car.
Yeah. No, you're right. He did. He drove her there.
So that's full of shit.
That's a little bit of a plot hole there.
At least there wasn't like a double like in Zero, like the double from Bloodhaven.
Imagine if the girl dies and really it's like it's my sister, and I'm like
of course it is.
This
went
is a dumb
to the same
episode.
plastic surgeon that Ted DiBiase sent Dave and Earl Hebner to. This is
all right. Well, you know what? This episode, I don't like this episode. This is the weakest out of the three.
I do love the ending. I love the ending between with Clark and Lex. That conversation, like, there's a side of you that I have not seen, and what else do I know about you? It's like, I don't know if I can change. By the time that fire came in, I was like, good. It was save the world from grief. Holy shit, that shit got a little very dark.
And it feels like Lex is just on that path to
again, this season is literally leaning towards him going to his darker self.
When he said Clark help me, I thought no, that's still Lex in him. But how he the way he was acting all high and mighty about I got Whitney, I got Jason fired. Yeah, I'm gonna get Lana, and I'm literally I might even put a file on you.
The pieces of the evil Lex Luthor are on the table. They are just not yet arranged properly.
But you're starting to see a picture.
But Jacob, 1 to 10, what do you give this?
I mean, I like a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, same here with me. It's definitely a 6 out of 10. If you would not have that conversation by the end of the episode or have Lionel involved in this story, then it would have been a lot worse. It would have probably been like a 4 if it weren't for those.
I am going to go 5. I think there was some diminished intelligences here, and it just felt like what are we doing here, people? Is like it felt like we were just going back to like season 1. But thankfully, from what it sounds like,
Next episode is so good.
Oh God!
I'm not gonna say nothing, but I'm just saying
the scare episode.
If you liked, remember in the hourglass when Lex saw his future.
Yes, that's.
I'm just saying, if you like that moment, wait until you see Scare. That's all I'm saying.
Oh yeah, I know exactly what you're. That's always what we've been wanting to talk about.
You're gonna be like, oh
my God.
But with that tease in mind, just a little programming update again in case you all missed it at the start. Next week will be an edited version of this stream. So this stream's going to go private after 24 hours or so, and then this coming Tuesday the 20th will be the edited version of this. And if you're watching it then, thank you for watching. And then Tuesday the 27th we will be covering season 4 episodes 10, 11, and 12, which are Scare, Unsafe, and Pariah respectively. And I've heard nothing but good things about Scare. So
Scare is so good.
Oh,
Scare
God.
is literally so good.
It adds more darker tone and tension and stakes. I was like, oh my God, I wanted them to continue that.
Great. Well, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you, Jacob and Matt, for being so flexible with my tech issues. Hopefully, those will not be a problem in the future. But Jacob, tell the people where they can find you.
Well, they can't find me in a straitjacket. That's for damn sure.
Thank God for that.
They can find me. They can find me at 3D Movie Cinema. I got a review coming out this week. I don't know what it's going to be yet because Madam Web's coming out, and also I'm going to review. And so basically, I got some stuff, movies reviews coming out, and a video game review. I'm not going to have a video game upload on the week of this recording, the live stream, but when it airs, when this airs next week, Skull and Bones will be the first game that'll be the game I review. But this week I won't because I'm playing Skull and Bones, unless I think I might have one out tomorrow. I don't know, maybe. If it is, it's gonna be a mystery game because I don't know. We'll see.
But Jacob's channel is linked in the description. Matt, your link tree is in the description. What reviews do you have coming up?
Well, I'm planning on covering for the Super Bowl movie trailers that we've had not that long ago, and I'm planning on seeing a couple of movies, Madam Web, of course, because I already know how bad the reviews are, but I'm still going to go see it and give you my thoughts on it. And and another movie that I might see this week is Lisa Frankenstein. I'm curious to check that out. I'm curious to check that out.
Why do you hate society, dude? Why do you hate? Really, if you watch someone take a shit, this is basically like watching Lisa Frankenstein.
Yeah, because in case you all didn't catch it, that movie was written by Jacob Collins' favorite writer in the entire world, Diablo.
I would rather take a shit and then have it reinserted and then take it again than after watching any Java Cody made.
That's a saw trap right there. Jake can find me in it.
For context, basically a couple of weeks ago, Jacob Martin, which he says, hey, stop putting Bass Pro Shop jokes in my music thing. But yeah, basically a couple of weeks ago, Jacob Martin was reviewing a Garth Brooks song because he's been doing a lot of music on his channel. And so me and him were friends. And so I watched it a couple of times. And then I was like, I always like to leave fun comments for him because, sometimes it's got to live it up because, some people, listen to Garth Brooks. Some people don't, like me. And so basically I was like, and then whenever someone left a dumb comment saying, but Garth Brooks was, I think it was Aaron White actually, that said Bass Pro or no, Jacob Martin said Bass Pro Shop is the only, because Garth Brooks only believes in physical media, and so he puts his albums at Bass Pro Shop only. You have to literally go to Bass Pro Shop to buy his new album. You cannot. It's not on YouTube. It's not on Spotify. Nothing. So I'm like, wait. So you basically, they're like Christopher Nolan going to this saying the only way to watch Oppenheimer is by going to the Smithsonian and buying the Blu-ray. And so, and then of course, and then Aaron White says he literally goes to Bass Pro Shop to see Santa Claus. And I'm like, what the fuck? Wait, aren't we going to talk about that? Saying you go to literally to the Bass Pro Shop. I'm like, do you not have a mall where you live? Is literally Bass Pro Shop the only shop that has Santa Claus? Do they have exclusive rights? And so now every time they're like talking about like songs and shit, it's like, oh, I was like I said, at least you can find this at Bass Pro Shop. And so, so I'm making jokes. And so Jake Mark's like, so after 3 times of me making that joke on the stream, he's like, can you stop making, he like tells me, he's like, hey, can you stop making the Bass Pro Shop jokes? It's like the 3rd stream you mentioned. I'll stop making the joke. But I'm just like, man, but yeah, that's Aaron White resurrected that joke though.
And it's gotten to the point where the Bass Pro Shop's jokes have now leaked onto some of my streams.
I mean, you can't go wrong. I mean, Garth Brooks at Bass Pro Shop, trapped with Lex Luthor in a straitjacket.
Well, as for this channel,
Chris Hansen standing over here.
As for this channel, my road to Godzilla X Kong continues. Last night actually, on whatever technology I could spare, I uploaded my review for Godzilla vs. Biollante. Tomorrow, my review for Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah from 1991 drops. Then this coming Saturday will be Godzilla vs. Mothra, the 1992 version, not the 70s version. So that's all coming up. Then the 1999 project drops Friday. Movies I'll be covering for that include Storm of the Century, a really, really long Stephen King miniseries that was like 4 hours and 20 minutes. It's like broken up into 3 episodes, but still it was really long. Then Jawbreaker, starring, the Greers of Pam and Julie, or Judy, no relation. October Sky, one of my all-time favorite movies, and Office Space from Mike Judge, which I have never seen up until this point.
Oh, dude, you never seen Office Space?
Make sure, hey, let me know. Let me know whenever you're doing The Mummy.
Well, actually, that is closer to July, so I'll let you know. But thank you all. Thank God. Oh, that's coming down the road. That's in a couple weeks, actually, because
Aaron White said he's going to join you for that. Y'all can review it at Bass Pro Shop.
That's where that movie belongs. But
a fucking dollar plate.
But just
by the way, I went to Best Buy because Best Buy stopping physical media, and I saw a shitload of Matthew Broderick Godzilla 4Ks.
Yeah, you can see that they do not want to fucking that those people are not going to fucking grab that movie.
They were priced at $5.99, and they still were in there was like steel books and everything. Like,
they'll probably give it away for. Wouldn't that be funny if they actually give it away for free since no one's going to buy this fucking movie?
Let's just give it to Goodwill. Let the motherfuckers have it.
Just give it to fucking bookshops that they'll sell that movie.
But not this coming Monday, but the next Monday will be the review for the Roland Emmerich Godzilla movie, which shouldn't even be called Godzilla. It should be called Zilla, because it doesn't even deserve the name. But it's
a Jurassic Park spinoff, bro.
That's pretty.
I mean, you should know this when half the cast of The Simpsons are in the fucking movie.
but
like literally, it is. I'm not lying. Like, look it up. Like, literally, Apu from The Simpsons is one of the lead characters in the movie.
And also, when they were promoting that Godzilla, the Roland Emmerich in the 90s, they promoted it, treated it like it was going to be the next Jurassic Park film. It almost felt like that if you really think about it.
I always thought it had the coolest poster because they had a cool teaser trailer where they're at a museum, and then all of a sudden you hear like the rumblings of like you're like, oh my gosh, this is another Jurassic Park.
It felt too much of a ripoff from Jurassic Park.
I mean, it came out in '93.
That movie killed Peter Jackson's King Kong movie in '90 because they were going to make a King Kong movie. I sent you this sign on YouTube.
Yeah, you sent me that video.
And
But,
then look, he was going to not do Lord of the Rings either, Matt. He was not going to do Lord of the Rings. He was not going to do Lord of the Rings. He was going to do Godzilla, King Kong, and it was going to be called Kong 96.
Damn.
And it was going to be like The Mummy. Like, it was going to be like The Mummy. The first 2 acts of the movie are going to be like The Mummy, and then it follows the formula of the 2005 movie. And in the third act, the good guy gets on a plane, and then he guns down with King Kong on a plane, and King Kong falls to his death again. And then the actress from the original movie was going to say, it was beauty that killed the beast. But of course, Mighty Joe Young came out, and Matthew Broderick Godzilla came out, and they both flopped, and people hated them. So they said, "Oh, we're not going to make in this movie anymore." So,
but until the Lord of the Rings trilogy became a highly successful and an Academy Award winning movies, he was able to fucking make the
but he made a lot of changes though to that script, because the original script, Robert Zemeckis was going to be an executive producer on the movie too.
Oh, really?
Interesting.
Yeah, and Kate Winslet was going to play Anne.
I mean, no
offense to Naomi Harris.
It's because Kate Winslet was a big star because she was coming off the success of Titanic. They thought like she would be a great fit at the time.
And he actually flew because he worked with her in Heavenly Creatures. He flew to Titanic set, and she read when he did the dialogue, and they were looking at who they're going to cast the male lead. And I honestly, I don't know who, but I guarantee she probably could have got Leo to do it. But they said the only thing is though, I'm glad they didn't do it because Andy Serkis would not have been King Kong. Because Andy Serkis did not get the King Kong until after Gollum, so he would have, like they said, the only thing is Robert Zemeckis did one cool thing I always respect him for, because after they learned, because he literally, as a thank you to Universal, he sent them a thank you thing by sending them a giant King Kong fighting the T-Rex statue. That's in the, and he sent them that. It was Kong fighting a giant T-Rex that Weta had developed, and he has a thank you. But then they gave it back when they told him the production was shut down. They gave it back to him, and now it sits in his office in New Zealand. And then, of course, Robert Zemeckis felt so bad for Peter Jackson for them shutting down the project that he took all of Peter Jackson's Weta because they were afraid they were not going to have any work. And they told him, y'all can all work on Contact for me.
I mean, good guy on Robert Zemeckis. That was a W for him. But for all of that, for Jacob Collins, for Matt Wyatt, my name is Ryan Cam. We will see you all in the next one for Truth or Justice in the American Way. You all have a very good night.